All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rachak Kodash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to those for elect here in this word and truth and in sincerity. I'm the brother Awalam from the GMS West Palm Beach Camp, back with another lesson. Through the Spirit, I want to do a lesson concerning how, one day, this will all be over, man. All right, and pretty much through the point, just thinking about, how, every day in Babylon, it's sort of the same cycle, but, if you're not in this truth, for those that are not in the truth, it'll seem like that's the end all be all, man. But we understand that, we have something to look forward to. We have a kingdom to look forward to, all right? And more so looking forward to the downfall of America, Babylon the Great. That's why you see commonly a lot of our people, they'll pretty much settle here in America because they don't have the foresight to see that this place is over. So they'll pretty much settle and, try to establish themselves, for years down the line, which, when for Jake that is doing that, establishing himself for 10-20 years down the line, you're going to be disappointed because, by the time, you realize that you may got a business going on and the business is flourishing, then boom, the economy collapses, and now, what happens? You're attached to, that business and the money you're making to the point where now you can't leave it behind. All right. But for us, and of course, brothers, probably got business going on. For the brothers that do have business going on, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, is going to put the spirit on them to leave it behind when needs be. Okay. But this is I want to start at 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 7. It says, "But we have this treasure in earth." Matter of fact, I should start from verse 6. It says, "For the Most High, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, have shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of the Most High in the face of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. But we have this treasure in the earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of the Most High and not of us." All right, so we have this treasure in the earthen vessels. The treasure is talking about this truth, this knowledge. The earthen vessels is talking about these bodies, man. All right, these earthly, fleshly bodies. You see? And within these bodies, we have the knowledge, all right, to understand that, who Yahweh and who Yahweh Shai is, right? Who we are as the children of Israel, and that we have a kingdom coming. We have glory coming, and pretty much, Salakia. And pretty much, knowing all this, we know that one day it's going to all be over. We're not going to be, waking up every day to clock in for Esau Edom. All right. Only for Esau Edom, take your money, all right, every paycheck. Cause that's what they do. They take a chunk of your money from the taxes out of your paycheck, man. So that shows you right there that we're in slavery, man. But, it's not going to be like this every day in the world to come. It's like I should say like that. It's not going to be like that in the world to come. You see? But we're going to be in a position to rule over our enemies, right? We're going to be in a position to, be able to freely, go in and out as we please. Why? Because we're going to be in our kingdom. It says, verse 8, "We are troubled on every side," right? Because, pretty much us being in captivity or in the hand of the heathen, we're troubled on every side. It's like you can't even breathe, man. You can't catch a break. There's always something happening, something going on. At work, at home, something happening to where you can't even catch a break. We're troubled on every side, man. In verse 8 says, we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Right, because Yahweh Shema Shai takes care of us. Verse 9, persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. All right. You know, and it can feel like this sometimes. You know, where you're going through things, and pretty much it feels like, you know, nobody's hearing you. You know, nobody cares. Which in this world, the people of the world really don't care. You know what you're going through. All right, but Yahweh Shema Shai does. Yahweh Shema Shai, you know, he hears the cries of his believers. Yahweh Shema Shai hears the cries of, you know, his saints. All right. So we just look forward to the end of this man's kingdom. You know, and as it is written, right, that if the Lord don't shorten the days for the elect's sake, no flesh will be saved. So Yahweh Shema Shai is shortening the days for the elect's sake. You see, the Lord is getting ready to make a speedy riddance of the so-called white man's kingdom. All right, in order to establish his kingdom on this earth. Verse 10. It says, always bearing about in the body of the dying of the Lord Yahushua, that the life also of Yahushua might be made manifest in our body. Okay? So I want to go to, because the Lord, he really wants to establish his kingdom on the earth. You know, but of course he had to let prophecy play out. But the Lord wants his people to rule. He wants his chosen to rule the earth in righteousness, man. All right. Isaiah chapter 62. Isaiah chapter 62. I'm in Jeremiah, Salakia. Isaiah chapter 62 and verse 7. Verse 6, it says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silence, you know, and give him no rest till he establish, until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. You see? So Yahweh Shema Shai wants to make Jerusalem a praise in the earth, man. Alright, he wants to establish his people, you know, forever in the earth. So hey, what the Lord wants is what's going to happen. Because we'll commonly bring out how, you know, we'll commonly bring out in the scriptures how, you know, we were sent to captivity because of our obedience, which we were, or because of our disobedience, which we were. All right, but then when we bring out things about, you know, the kingdom of heaven getting ready to be established, you know, then there's this unbelief, disbelief that we can ever rule. And that's the thing with our people. Jake, they don't see themselves in a rulership, and that's understandable, you know, considering that we've been beat down to the lowest estate. So really, from our people until the heathen, they laugh, or they suck their teeth when they hear that we gonna rule next. You know, because we've been on the bottom for so long. You know, you just look at Jake in the hood. You know, look at Jake on the streets. You know, they look through. All right, but nevertheless, that don't disqualify the fact that we are the Lord's chosen people. Matter of fact, Jake being through out there, that further proves that we are the Lord's chosen people, because it's written in the Bible that, all right, we be in these conditions. According to Deuteronomy 28, all right, verse 15 on down. All right, it all proves that. You know, but to the naked eye, should I say, or to the unspiritual eye, should I say, conditions or these things that our nation is going through, all right, it's not biblical. You know, it don't mean anything. When really it does. Okay? But when you tell people that we're gonna rule next, or we got Yahweh Shai, the so-called black man, he's coming to save his people, they're in disbelief. They don't want to hear it. You know? But that's okay, because that's pretty much the snare that the Lord put them in, because him having us in a low position, you know, that's going to pretty much magnify his power. That's going to magnify his name. All right, yeah, these were my people the whole time. All right, I didn't believe, but these were my people, beginning with the elect. You know? What did it say? I don't say in the book of Isaiah, where it says, surely the Lord's power is in thee. You know? Because right now, the way it seems, as it looks like the Lord, you know, well, the Lord ain't dealing with 2/3 of our people today. All right, but it looks like the Lord, you know, the Lord not doing nothing right now about the oppression going on, but the Lord is. All right, it starts with this truth. You know, it starts with revealing, all right, the devil, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom. You know, and then it's gonna go to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua making a move on Esau, man. You know? And this is what we're waiting on. We're waiting on the vengeance of the Lord. So one day it's going to all be over, man. You know, and that's our hope. Begin with the apostles and elders, great millstone. Our hope is that one day it's going to all be over. We ain't going to have to worry about the devil no more and his semantics. You know, it's like every day is something new with Esau, Edom. You know, what's that scripture in the book of Micah? They devise iniquity. When morning is light, they practice it. I know it's in Micah. When morning is light, they practice it. Because this is what's going on. All right, while everybody's asleep, the devil, Esau, Edom, is out doing mischief. You know, he's out there, you know, conjuring some wicked plan. You know, to take over the world. You know, this man don't sleep. He's doing something out there. Let me see if I can find it. I'm gonna type it in. Man, Shalaki, man. Micah 2 and verse 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. So the fact that Esau got the power to do these things, you know, he doesn't. Like, you know, kings should have power. You know, you're the ruler. But when that power is misused, that's a problem. The power is misused to the point where now the world is in turmoil. So now as the world is in turmoil, they're trying to come up with their solutions to fix it, which the only solution to fix it is Yahweh Shai coming back and wiping the cancer off the earth. All right? So, you know, that's pretty much the point. You know, I just thought I would go into a lesson dealing with how one day it's going to all be over, man. You know, because once again, you know, it's like we're going through a repeated cycle over and over. It's like a deja vu. Now, I've been through this before. You know, which... Shalaki. You know, it's like going through a deja vu where, you know, you're going through the same thing every day, like the same steps, the same patterns every day, over and over again, man. But one day it's gonna all change, man. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to those that watch. I would like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Rachakadash. And I also want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And peace and blessings to those who elect hearing this word in truth and in sincerity. Until next time, I'll say shalom.